Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning, good morning. Today we're going to be doing sort of analysis on copper USD. Yes, this is the date copper as compared to US dollar. Of course, copper is one of the more niche. To be honest, compared to every other existing precious metal, the most popular is obviously gold and silver, and copper is like third place. But still a very. So let's do that. It's a weekly zone. Sorry about that. It's a weekly zone. It's also our all-time high. It's also our correct all-time high. So, we're doing top of analysis on copper USD starting from the 1 week time frame. We're going to start by identifying our zones. Our all-time highs are all-time highs, the highest point that price has reached in as far back as we can see. Even zooming out like this, from as far back as 2012, the price of copper has not gone into as much as $6.6, except in recent times. So, we're going to start by identifying our zones. So, what are zones? Zones are support and resistance levels on higher time frames. That is the most basic definition of what a zone is. Zones are support and resistance levels of higher time frames. Support turn resistance or resistance turn support also count as zones. For example, okay. So if zones are support and resistance levels of higher time frames, then what are support and resistance levels? The support level is a region of price that price finds difficult to go below, while the resistance level is one that price finds difficult to go above. To turn this into an example, we would have, let's assume that this our black line is price. The middle red line on my screen right now is already acting as a resistance level according to my black lines as price, while this lower line is acting as my support level. Because price is not going below it, I call it my support, and because price refuses to go above it, I call it my resistance. But there's also resistance becomes support, which is when price goes above it and then finds support on top of it. There we now have resistance becomes support, which is actually already plain manifest here. Let me delete this. And then because here we have a resistance level here, price breaks it and comes back up to find support around this level, making this a very, very, very valid zone. So this is a weekly zone. What other zones we have? What other zones can we see? What other zones? We do have a zone here, but it's not a very very clear zone. But I'm sure if we go further back, we'll be able to see how clear it is. But for the sake of time, YouTube videos can only ever be so long. So now that we've identified our zones on the weekly time frame, let's go down to the daily time frame and see what we can find on zones. So what do we see in regards to daily zones? We have a daily zone here. Price has currently even reached that point. We also have another daily zone around here. This region is one. If I wanted to, I could actually mark this out as a range, because that's exactly what it is. But there's no need to just move them out as zones. We also have another daily zone here. What else do we see? Zones. Okay, we also have another zone here. But the validity of it is a bit shaky. So that's it for our zones on copper. Next thing for us to do is to identify our trend lines on the weekly time frame as well as the daily time frame. And that will be in our second video for the